My two goals for this project are don't fall in a manhole and don't get stuck in a manhole. And that if I don't do that by the end of this research project, I'll be good. My name is Katie Cassidy, and I am a first-year master's student in water resources science. I work in Dr. Chan Land's lab. My research project is looking at the environmental impacts of potassium acetate, which is a new alternative road salt.
When actual road salt gets into the water system, it can accumulate. Basically, we are contaminating our drinking water source. Now we know 1 teaspoon of the salt contaminated the 5 gallons of the water. But because potassium acetate is a new compound, we do not know how much will impact the actual environment.
We're really concerned about oxygen demand because acetate is organic, but we're trying to quantify what that is. And so if we have really oxygen depleted stormwater and we're sending that into creeks or Lake Superior, we want to know what the levels are and how that would impact the lake.
So we have the funding from the Minnesota Department of the Natural Resources, and then they want to know what is the hotspot for the salt accumulation in the water.
If we're seeing harmful effects on the streams because of this road salt, and maybe less harmful effects from the streams with potassium acetate, it might be an indication that we could switch over to that.
It works at a lot lower temperatures, which in Duluth it is so cold here most of the year that it makes sense to start looking for something that works below zero. Obviously, road safety is really important, and if we can decrease car accidents because of this, that would be really awesome. It's kind of a weigh the cost because sodium chloride has all these negative impacts on the environment. Like you think that Clorox is what you use to kill things. And so from what we've seen in studies so far, it seems like potassium acetate has it has plenty of negative impacts, but they're not as well studied. Nobody has really done winter sampling like this with stormwater, and so part of this project is just like, what are the challenges? What can we give advice for other people to do the same thing? And so we're looking at writing a methods paper on how to do winter stormwater sampling because people generally just sample in the summer because it's a lot easier than trying to deal with the ice and the snow.
I mean, this is kind of what I've always wanted to do, is be outside and doing research and working here.
It's the sampling portion of that.
I graduated UMD in May 2019. Once I graduated college, I reached out to NRI, and about a week later, Chan Land got back to me. She hired me on as Researcher 1.
It's been really valuable for me to be in charge of this project because as an undergrad, you're usually assisting somebody, but now as a master's student, it's yours and you're responsible for the data. And so it's definitely been a really good opportunity. I really like the applied part of research when you're just doing it yourself and you dig your hands in. We have an oxygen probe, and so I'll stick that in and record oxygen now, and then I'll come back in 5 days and see what's changed. And then you get a number that's called BOD5, and that's basically a measure of the microbiological water quality and like how polluted the water is. And then the other thing is we have just started looking for E. coli, and so I also add some E. coli food to my sample, and I put it in a sealed tray, and you can put a UV light over the tray and see which cells fluoresce, which indicates that E. coli is there. It's too early to really make a conclusion because some sites I only have 1 or 2 numbers for. So yeah, I think this summer will be a whole summer of getting data back because we have hundreds of samples now, and it's time to start analyzing them and getting our numbers back. You can really get a feel for what you're doing, and I know why it's important because I learned about all the really negative effects of sodium chloride. And so it's something that is exciting to be a part of, is looking for a possible alternative that maybe isn't as harmful.